Welcome to the Delco Nerd Network Hot Takes. If you haven't seen this show before, well, a hot take is where me and a few friends get in a basement, give our thoughts, give our opinions on a TV show, a movie, or a game. Today, we're going to be discussing a movie, and that movie is X-Men Dark Phoenix. Of course, as always, my co-host, Chris Trio, to discuss the 7th X-Men movie.
How's it going, Gooch? Here we are again.
Yeah, it's alright.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah,
so,
it's all right.
we're here. We're here to talk shop, talk X-Men. Still Dark Phoenix. Or is it Dark Phoenix? This isn't... This isn't X-Men Dark Phoenix. It's Dark Phoenix.
Whatever. Whatever. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm talking about.
No, I know.
So, before we go in, I think we both had pretty astoundingly low expectations for this movie going in.
I mean,
to the point where we just didn't even want to see it.
I was really... You texted me last week. You were like, are you buying tickets for Dark Phoenix next week? I was like, oh, that's next week? I was more like, oh, that's happening, yeah.
Yeah.
It really wasn't like a, woo, X-Men. And it sucks because, this series has had such an up and down of just, quality, I feel like. I guess the beginnings, obviously...
I don't think X-Men has ever been, astounding, except for Logan.
Not astounding.
Except for Logan.
I wouldn't say astounding, but I'd say pretty great. That's not I like First Class a lot. I really like Days of Futures Past.
I think Days of Futures Past and First Class are probably and Logan are the highlights of the X-Men.
Agreed.
But this is just we're winding down. This movie's been delayed maybe
3 years.
3 or 4
well,
times.
It was filmed in 2016, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm fairly confident.
No,
that.
I think
and
you're
then
right.
they reshot. So they reshot the entire end scene of this movie. The climax scene was set in space, but apparently it seemed like a certain other superhero movie. It looked like, so they decided to go back and reshoot the whole thing.
Yeah, so this is possibly the last X-Men movie from Fox we're gonna get. We still don't really know what's going on with New Mutants, and honestly, if they scrapped it entirely or co-opted it somehow into the MCU, I wouldn't be surprised. But I feel like it's a 30% chance that Marvel's gonna try to adapt it and
Yeah, I feel like they'd be kind of dumb not to even release it on even just to sell to a Netflix and say this isn't part of us, because they spent money on Fox as a whole. They didn't pay for that movie to be made. So I guess it's lose nothing or win nothing if they don't release it. So you're right. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, but I feel like it's kind of free money if they did in some capacity. So I wouldn't put it past.
So Trio, what did you think about Dark Phoenix? What are your base impressions? And let's try to go spoiler free. I know for Doom Patrol we kind of did. I don't think we need to spoil this movie by any means.
I mean, I think you know the end of this movie.
Talk about some moments, but
I know,
overall,
I do want to talk about the
spoiler free.
There's going to be some spoiler stuff because I do want to talk about why they motivate Xavier. And
yeah,
stuff
but I'm talking there is nothing that happens in this movie that is overly spoilery.
Yeah.
And you're I hope most people who are watching it before you go see it, because with this review, this hot take especially, I want to sell you on not going to rush out and see it.
See, I don't even necessarily. I just want to sell you on what I'm thinking, because it boggles my mind.
Anyway, what did you think?
I thought it was very bland.
Yeah,
and
it
sucks.
Word for it. Bland.
Because they have a killer cast. I think they could really do some special things. The only times I cared about anything going on during this movie was when McAvoy or Fassbender was on screen. Really, that was mostly where I was at in my head. I didn't care about Jean much. I didn't really care about Scott and them. We haven't really had time to develop their characters. So even with X-Men 3 going back, I don't know, I was so young when I watched that. Everyone does shit on that movie, but I don't think it's much different from those other two X-Men movies.
I feel like this movie's plot is not
non-existent.
No, comparing it to Last Stand, because that is a Dark Phoenix storyline as well. I want to say that Last Stand sort of did it better. This is so shallow and so surface level. It's just almost none of it just doesn't matter.
I think X3 was just as shallow back then, but they were trying to juggle 3 different storylines.
Yeah,
but with
like
this,
that movie had a lot.
they had
more
like the mutant cure thing, and
this
then,
movie like really had nothing going on.
Yeah, no, it was like a
the entire movie.
It was an hour 50 something minutes, right?
Yeah, and if
like,
it was any longer, I wouldn't have been about it.
And like,
it didn't feel long.
The whole crux of this movie seems to be on Xavier, and like how he's supposedly using the X-Men to just further himself.
That's a big theme. In
which
this movie.
I don't necessarily agree with, because like there's like what's his name, like what's her name, Mystique comes in and like has this big confrontation with him, and he goes through this whole thing. He's like, listen, all it takes is one bad day and they are gonna lock us the fuck down. We are fucked. That's why I do send you guys out there, to fucking deal with this shit, because we need help and we need good standing in this. And then guess what? Something bad happens, and then they all hate the mutants again. Like almost immediately.
And just like every
they're like
single
internment
movie.
camps.
And that plot
like,
is just like it's so
I
feel like
reused.
the plot they try to like do in every X-Men movie is just so old. Like we get it.
It doesn't work anymore.
Nobody seems to like the mutants ever.
If you came up to me, Gooch, if we met when we were younger, and you're like, dude, look at this, and you could conjure fire in your hand, I wouldn't be like, ew, you freak. I'd be like, dude, that's really cool. We should use that. But that's how it seems like this whole universe is. No one likes someone with a cool power for some reason, which it just wouldn't happen.
And there is a scene like after Jean absorbs the Phoenix Force in space, and after that whole incident goes, so they go in space to kind of like
to save the Challenger disaster, which I thought was cool.
It's the Endeavor.
Was the Endeavor?
It's the Endeavor.
I thought they said
it was
Challenger.
It's the Endeavor.
Maybe I heard you say Challenger.
I did say Challenger, yeah.
So,
but they go in space to save her, and they come back, and like a scene we don't really get in like Avengers, like they're walking off the X-Jet, and like there's like a crowd waiting for them, and like everyone's like cheering for them, and I'm like, okay, like I actually like that
some cool
scene.
parts, yeah.
Like, and they're waving, and like one of the girls I think has like painted blue like Mystique.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's cool. Because like we don't really see that in Avengers or like in Marvel at all. Where like the Avengers come back and like there's people
like,
waiting.
Yo,
we see people in like Captain America outfits or like Iron Man outfits.
It's usually a bit more serious.
Like the civilians interact with the Avengers, which honestly is something that needs to change.
One thing I think was extremely stupid, I just don't get it, was their costumes. That's the X-Men.
Yeah, so lazy.
Like just so I don't even
and like
get what
we
the fuck.
look at Apocalypse.
By the end of that,
Apocalypse, like I think the best part of that movie is just like the costume design.
Yeah.
Like they all look fucking awesome. Like not even just the X-Men suits at the end, but like the whole movie. Like everyone looks fucking super like comic booky and cool.
No, they do.
And in this movie, it's like we have jumpsuits with like a yellow X on it, and that's
literally
look
like PJs.
And Jean Grey, she's just in like civilian
all the
clothes.
time, and I don't
I'm
get
just
it.
like what? Like why?
And then a lot of people were bitching about Mystique's like makeup. Did you think it looked bad? Because I actually thought it looked fine. I didn't think it looked terrible.
I kind of looked a little like lacking, but I wasn't like totally taken away. But in the trailers, I said that.
Yeah. I think her hair was the best hair we've ever seen on Mystique. Personally,
I wasn't checking it out too much.
You gotta watch out for the wigs. But the blue skin was very just surface. You could tell they just were like, all right, sit in the chair for an hour. We're gonna spray you blue and put some dots on your face.
Mystique's not, Jennifer Lawrence isn't gonna be here long. And when you were saying the cast is good, I kind of agree, but I feel like none of the cast is.
Well, but they're never given their moments to shine or given a moment for us to care about them. Like I think the guy who plays Scott is a good cast.
Yeah,
but I don't care about his character. Jean's fine. There were some questionable moments
Sophie Turner,
with her.
I can disconnect from Game of Thrones. It's not the issue. I just think Sophie Turner does not like deliver in her acting.
There was the one part where they're like in the street and she's like freaking out, and I was like, this is not good. Like she's like, I don't know what's going on, and I'm like, listen, Sophie Turner's great. I like her, but just it was very And then they just you're right. They just don't use characters. Like Quicksilver gets totally
literally he's in the first
15 minutes maybe
40 minutes 30 minutes at least, and he gets injured and he's out for the movie. Literally, you do not see him again.
I was telling Gooch this after the movie. I saw a promo for Dark Phoenix. It's Evan whatever sitting there talking just like with kind of a blank stare on his face. He's like, yeah, well, Quicksilver didn't realize how fast Jean was as the Dark Phoenix, and he tries to charge her, and then he
gets fucked up.
He breaks both his legs. I was like, oh, that's cool. Thanks for putting that in the trailer for this. What the fuck are we? And then he's just gone the whole time. This is the entire time. I actually really like Nightcrawler in this. I thought he was well.
There's like one
yeah.
really good scene with Nightcrawler, and I was like, wow, that was fucking cool. Where he like kind of like has like a snap moment,
and I think
like,
he just looks cool.
And just kind of like eviscerates some people, and it's just like really cool. I think the best moments of this movie are just some action scenes, and like that's it. Like there's nothing redeemable about the plot, nothing redeemable about the characters. There is something redeemable when you see Dazzler dancing outside. Probably
see, like that guy,
I'm like, dude, that's fucking Dazzler. I was like, that's awesome.
The only time
Jubilee, nowhere to be seen, gone. Like,
again, like,
it's just like, what are they doing?
The only people propping up the tent that is this movie for me is McAvoy and
I don't even think they do. Like,
I think they do the best that they can with what they have on screen, and I only sort of care when Magneto's talking. Like, I can see it in his, like, when he finds out someone important is gone. You can actually see the little bit of pain, but again, he was the best part of Apocalypse.
The only scene with them I like is like the last scene when they're playing chess at the end. I think it's the only good scene in the movie.
Yeah, like
for them.
The plot is,
and
just
then they
so
have this
weird.
weird like conflict. It's like, why are you guys fighting again?
We haven't even talked.
And
about
that's the thing.
The
like,
fucking aliens.
All the X-Men movies, it's always Xavier and Magneto fighting, and I get it. That's a big theme. Brotherhood of Mutants versus the X-Men. It's you know it's the that's what the X-Men is. But like that conflict is so overused and so old. It's just like, I don't.
And it's not even
care.
like that. Wasn't even really.
I just don't give a flying fuck about like them fighting because it's like they're not gonna kill each other. Like, nothing's gonna happen. They're just gonna go back and, like, either, like, not be fighting for, like a few years or just be at each other's throats. And, like, that's what it is.
And, that's...
And there's, like, and he only has, like, Dread Dude who fights Storm. And then, like, the reuse.
Listen, I need to talk about this. The ridiculous powers that they choose to show us in a world where, with X-Men, with an unlimited amount of abilities, you have Storm, a literal chick who can control weather, fighting a guy with dreads that can whip you. And she's entertaining this guy like it's an easy... She could call down a lightning strike and eviscerate him immediately. Or at least knock him out. Like, just put her up against someone that's believable. For God's sakes. Like,
I like how they kept her accent.
I thought...
Unlike what they did with Halle Berry.
The actress, I thought she was fine.
Yeah.
She was great. Like,
but, like, she's not used at all.
There's one weird scene...
Everyone is just kind of there. Even Cyclops. Like, Cyclops is there to, like, be the mediator for Jean Grey. And that's the only use he has in this movie. The really the only plot is between Beast, Professor X, and Jean Grey. And, like, that's kind of it. And, like, there's barely even a plot with the Shi'ar people who, like, aren't even called that in the movie. Aren't even explained who these aliens are and why they're on Earth. And, like, it's just, like... What? Like, you're not even gonna explain any of this? Like, it really just, like, it's lazy.
There's a lot of stuff, too, and even, like, the stuff that really annoys me, you just brought up Beast, is how they just have these people just switching back and forth all the time. Beast would always be Beast.
Yeah.
Why is he give him a serum and he can change back and forth? No. What the fuck? These actors just don't want to sit in the chair for 4 hours, and I get that. It's understandable, but at the same time, like, it's just a lazy, stupid thing that annoys me. Like, they get back and Mystique turns back into just Jennifer Lawrence looking Mystique. I'm like, she has to concentrate the entire time that she's sitting there to stay looking like that. That's part of... They explain that 1,000 times in the other movies. But she just does it because she hates herself, apparently, now. But her whole arc was about her loving herself as a mutant, how she should love herself. It's just such backwards, stupid storytelling to me. And I just don't get... Because they had such potential.
They just balled this together and was like, here we go.
We're going to put it out here. And I had another point and I lost it. But it just seems like you can tell these actors almost don't even want to be here in some of the scenes. Yeah. And especially Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah. Who
like, I feel like she's here for the paycheck in this movie. Which is fine.
Yeah. But like, here's the thing. Jennifer Lawrence should never been cast as Mystique to begin with.
I don't even necessarily agree
with
that.
Her star power so outweighs this movie because this movie and this franchise, the X-Men franchise, does not have the star power to carry her.
I hear you. I just think they should have just killed her by now. Or just sent her off on her own way. Like, I think she was fine in the beginning. I actually enjoyed her in, like, First Class.
Yeah,
but like, at this point, who gives a fuck? Like, we aren't given and even, like, I don't know. The motivation for Storm, which really killed me, too, that's what I just thought of. There's a part where it's kind of, a conflict is brought up between Scott and Storm about Jean doing something while she's Dark Phoenixing. And it's just like totally forgotten about the next couple scenes, and then Storm's like, I
don't
got you, man. Literally, exactly.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
So there's a scene on the stairs. Remember when he's explaining what Jean did to all the kids, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Well, it's not her fault. She's not in control."
Yeah, I remember that.
And then she's like, "No, I saw Scott. I know what she did and all that." And then that's just, she totally doesn't even bring it up. And then he's like, "Can you help me?" And she's like, "I got you."
Oh yeah.
I just don't. I don't get it.
And like another thing with the Jessica Chastain's character, who is just like
Just a bland
shit.
whoever, whatever.
Absolutely.
I don't know her
an
name.
enabler.
Literally.
Like, I guess, like, she enables Jean Grey to become the Dark Phoenix, but she's trying to steal the Phoenix Force
and it's
back
confusing
from her.
because
And it's just like, it's not good at all. By any means.
And,
She's not
and
a
it
good
makes
villain.
no sense because
there was really no villain in this movie.
At the beginning of the movie, she's like, I've seen this thing come in contact with everyone, and it's killed everyone.
And
so
then
why
she
do you
absorbs
think...
it. And then she absorbs it.
And she's like, oh, this isn't good. And it's
Or
like,
part-
yeah, you
part of it.
knew that wasn't good, you idiot. You explained it to us. I just don't understand. And then
there seems like, like when their ship crashes, there seems like, maybe there's like 20 or so.
And then there's like
and
1,000.
then they fight on the train and there's like a fucking like army of them.
I don't understand.
And like there, I think at the end when Jean Grey is fighting against the aliens, the Shi'ar that they're not called in the movie.
I wouldn't even know what their names were.
She like they say it, but they don't. They say it in subtitles, so I don't even know how it's pronounced. It's like D apostrophe BARI.
Tabari something.
I was like, what? I was like, is that even like a thing? I was like, I don't know. But when like Jean Grey is showing off her powers as the Phoenix or the Dark Phoenix, I was like, that was cool.
Yeah,
like she's really
I actually
fucking
really
people
liked.
up.
I liked the effect of her like glowing and like the like weird celestial kind of look of the entity. But like again, it's funny. I haven't seen a big giant smoke monster villain since like 2000 and whatever with just
Parallax.
Yeah, Parallax and fucking all that. That was a big thing. Yeah, I don't understand the choices. And one of the big things, the key things that they're missing in the Dark Phoenix is the Phoenix. Because Jean's good for a while in the comics when she has the Phoenix energy.
Like honestly, like
whatever it is,
the Phoenix Saga is kind of a storyline that like deserves more time. And like both times
they
been
should
done,
have been supplanting it throughout the last movies.
It really doesn't do it any justice. Yeah, like Jean Grey goes through like phases.
Yeah, like she was cool Phoenix for a while, but then she went Dark Phoenix, and then that was like a big storyline in the animated show in the 90s. I'm pretty sure they did the whole Phoenix Saga. But yeah, no, you need that. And it's almost like we get back to Venom. How do we get to Venom without Spider-Man? And you brought that up before, and it's true. I do think that it's one of those key things of like this. You can't get to this point without getting to that point first. Or at least it kind of takes the point out of that character in some ways.
Yeah, it's trying to rush like a single character arc.
Yeah.
And it's not even like a Batman v Superman kind of rush where they kind of like do a lot within a movie. They just like pretend like that the Dark Phoenix is like this simple plot. And it's really not.
I don't know. A very, very confused movie. You can tell they were confused while they were making it.
So, at the end, it's not a piece of shit, but it's not good. It's just whatever. Like, it's just there. I went in there and I watched, like, a 2-hour comic book film that was, like, was just, like, whatever.
Literally, and it was...
Like, it's not shit.
Didn't Ian... Ian was like, I like that better than Shazam. I was like,
oh, no. Oh, no.
Shazam was a much better movie. I'm rarely ever bored in a movie, and but there were some times where I was bored. Like I was like, what are we?
Really not much goes on in this movie
even, like,
at all.
there's, like, one
really not much happens.
When we see the stuff with the parents at the beginning, I'm like, all right, we don't.
I was like, why are we getting an origin story? Like we know this,
and like
they showed her getting
picked up by Charles
scene.
and
in I think Apocalypse.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's. I just don't know. I don't understand the choices that they were making, and I'm very excited to see what X-Men could be within the MCU and with Feige, whatever they're going to do.
Don't see it. Don't see this movie. I don't think it's worth your time going out to the theater and paying to go see it. Wait until it's on DVD. It's not a good end cap to X-Men. Logan is the good end cap to X-Men.
Even if they left it on Deadpool 2. Like, for God's sakes. Just, Yeah, I don't know. It's very... I always say, see what you want to see, do whatever, but that's, I
feel like this is the first time where I'm just like, don't go see Dark Phoenix. Don't really, just don't. I don't think it's worth giving the money to.
And I don't even know who you're giving it to at this point. I think you'd be giving it to Disney.
It's a good question.
I don't know where that
Probably Fox. They made it. It's their
but
movie.
then like wouldn't that still end up just going to Disney anyways? Because it's their being. I don't know how business works. So
No, I mean
Right
they keep their money. They made it.
yeah, I guess that makes sense because
This
that's probably
whole
part of the
movie
that's
was
probably
done.
part of the contract. It's like we still get, but I don't know how.
I mean,
the severance goes.
Marvel obviously gets royalties. They're using their characters.
No. I'm
that's
just curious
Marvel.
how that absorption works. Right in. No, explain basic economics to me. Anything else, Gooch? I'm trying to think. I feel like there was one other thing I wanted to touch on, but I can't remember what it was.
Not really.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
again,
like-
we've barely talked about the plot of the movie, and like that's pretty much like all you get is
It's just an underwhelming
Jean
end
Grey
to
is
some
just
like
getting a little evil, getting a little overpowered, and struggles
she, like,
dealing with it, and
And there are like things that could have easily worked around to stop Jean from I feel like going crazy, and I just don't Yeah, it's a whatever. I like this less than Venom. I will say that. I definitely did.
Ooh,
Venom
or this?
I was more entertained with Venom personally.
I think I'd agree, but I think I just want to say this movie.
You just don't want anything.
I just don't like Venom.
Yeah, no. Venom. Yeah. All right. Well, on that Venom note, I think that does it for us, right, Gooch? Thank you all so much for watching. If you're watching live on Twitch, we really do appreciate it. You can find us on our social pages, facebook.com/DelcoNerdNetwork, as well as Twitter and Instagram at the Delco Nerds. We are on podcast services, most of them. If there's anyone that we're not on, tweet us or send us a shout. We'll try and get on them. You can leave us reviews for the podcast, all that good stuff. It really helps us out. I do need to write this down. Is there anything else, Gooch? I think that's about it. For Gooch, I've been Trio. Stay nerdy, guys. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.